A company called MeLE have reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested in having a look at one of their mini PCs. Now, for transparency, I do get to keep this. Obviously, they've seen I've got a YouTube channel and just wanted to know if I would look at doing it. So that's why this video is put down as sponsored. Let's dive right in and take a look.
Sheridan Computers, IT, Communications, Support.
When MeLE reached out to me, they sent me an Amazon link to the device that they was going to send. I'll include an Amazon link below if you'd like to buy it yourself. The first thing that caught my eye was how small this device is, and it packs a bit of a punch as well. So it seems very small. We'll see just how small when we unbox it in a second. Looking at the specs, so operating system support. It comes with Windows installed, I believe, but also supports Linux such as Debian, Ubuntu, CentOS, Fedora. We'll take a look at that. The BIOS supports auto power on, RTC wake up, diskless start, so PXE, network booting. We've got the wake on LAN, boot from USB. You can change the boot order. You can hide the post logo if you'd like, and you can disable LAN, Wi-Fi, BT, the Bluetooth, USB ports. So we'll take a look at the BIOS when we actually get it switched on. But as for the actual specs itself, we've got 16 gigabytes of low-power DDR5 RAM at 4800 megahertz. We've got 512 gigabytes of SSD M.2 2280 storage at 3940 megabits per second, which I believe is PCIe 3.0 times 4. We've got 4 USB, so a 5 gig, a 10 gig. We've got the 10 gig USB-C, and then we've got the 480 megabits per second USB-A there. The micro SD is USB 480 megabits per second. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So your display options, you've got USB-C, which can output 4K at 60 Hz. We've also got 2 HDMI ports, which can help output 4K at 60 Hz as well, potentially giving you up to 3 displays. We've got Wi-Fi 802.11 AC support, so that's both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. We've got Bluetooth 5.1. We've got Gigabit Ethernet. It's Realtek, I believe. We'll take a look at that as well. And we've got the 3.5 millimeter headset jack, which I also believe is universal audio, so you can use the headsets with the single 3.5 millimeter jack. It's very low power consumption, so it's around 6 watts idle. You can run it up to about 15 without actually changing the limits in the BIOS from what I have read. So with that, let's head over to unboxing and see how small this device is. So we can see the actual box is very small. Let's just open it and see what we get. So it does come well packaged. Save that for later. So take a look what we've got in the box. So we've got a quick start guide. Also tells you what other product family there, the installation. Should be quite straightforward to set up. Well, this is interesting. If you can see that, we've got the heat guide as to how much heat it actually gives off. I've never seen these actually come in a PC because it's fanless design. They can get quite warm because obviously it uses the chassis for heat dissipation. So we've got that, and this thing is small. That is it, and you can see the size of that in my hand. And if I put my mobile phone to it, my phone's actually longer than it, but it's not that much wider than my mobile phone either. Let's have a look at the ports. So we've got the 2 USB 3s. That's the slower USB-A. We've got the what's that? USB-C with power delivery, and it does support the universal audio, as you can see that. We've got the 2 HDMI out ports. We've got another USB-C, and we've got obviously the onboard networking, which is Realtek. On the side, we have a Kensington. The top of it is, I say, it's like a plastic. If you can see that, I don't know if you can see that well enough. It is like a raised surface, but it's very, very light. Let's continue on what else we've got in the box. So we have the VESA mount, if you'd like to mount it to the back of a monitor. It comes with the screws for the VESA mount. And then we have the power supply. And what is this? 12 volts, 2 amps, 24 watt. So we just slide this on. How's it gone? Just like that. So it just clips in. So I tried to slide it from the bottom. It doesn't. You can see the recesses there. So if we just go into the recesses and push it on, sorted. And it is USB-C. So this is the power port here, one next to the RJ45 socket. That's the network port. So let's power it up and take a look. They are letting me keep it, so let's strip it down and take a look inside. We have 4 screws, so there's 2 on this side and then there's 2 on the other side. So let's remove the screws and see how easy this thing comes apart. I'm just doing this because when I plug it in, I'm going to have to unplug the overhead camera to capture the display out of it. We'll look at that in a second. I don't think there's going to be much inside here that's serviceable. Does the lid come off, or is it a... Oh, it does. So, inside the actual unit, you can see, obviously, we've got the thermal pads on the top, so it is quite well designed thermally. We've got the NVMe drive here, which looks like is the only thing that we can replace. I can just about see the Wi-Fi soldered onto the board under that. Now, the CPU is obviously on the other side of the board, and we've got the memory, which is also soldered to the other side of the board. I'm not going to bother taking the whole lot apart. There's really not that much to see. But that's why I said you need to make sure you get the right memory before... it's upside down. You need to get the right memory before you actually commit to making a purchase, because it isn't upgradable. So the memory is soldered. I'll go ahead and put this back on. Right, we've got the base back on, so we'll power it up. Weight-wise, I think my mobile is actually heavier. But mine is a Z Fold 6. Well, let me disconnect this camera and power it up. Okay, until inside. Okay, jumping straight into the BIOS. So the build time on this is 15th of the 2nd, 2025. Scroll down, Alder Lake, ULX, Intel M150, 800 megahertz, 4 cores, 4 threads. What else we got in here? It's nice to see the BIOS is in English on one of these PCs. Wait, where's the date? So what's the system time now? Let's go across and have a look at what settings we've got. Sorry if this is a bit small. Obviously it's 4K, it's been captured at 4K, so we've got obviously ACPI options, connectivity and configuration. So CMVI configuration, Wi-Fi enabled, so we can see we've got the Bluetooth audio offload, RFI mitigation, discrete Bluetooth interface. Enable advanced settings, see what we get there. Wow, there's a lot of advanced settings under there. Let me just disable them because they're literally taking up the whole screen. W1 device, enable 4G, CPU configuration, virtualization support we do have. Obviously it's an M150, so it will do. Power and performance, CPU power control, and that's where you can adjust the power limits. There's a lot of options in this BIOS. GT power control, disable GT turbo frequency, PCH firmware. Wow, there's a lot of options in here. Thermal configuration, enable all thermal functions, CPU configuration, platform thermal configurations. So there's a lot of thermal adjustments you can make. Platform settings, charging, normal charging, VTIO, ACPI more settings, BCOK, Thunderbolt configuration, debug settings. So I've got some advanced debug settings there as well. Debug configuration, so you can set it to USB 3 for debug output. Trusted computing, security device support enabled, ACPI, suspend to RAM, UEFI, graphics output, HDMI 1, PCI subsettings, USB configuration, so enable, disable, XHCI handoff, general settings there. Network stack configuration, so if you want to enable booting off LAN, you can do that there. And obviously choose whether you want Pixie boot over IPv4 or IPv6. I'm not too bothered about that for now. CSM compatibility support, NVMe configuration. There's a 512 gig SSD, self-test actions, SDIO, customer exclusive functions. So we wake on LAN, we can enable here, auto power on, if we can enable that. And then you can change the RTC wake for that. You can see there, it is a Realtek controller. System agent SA, so we've got VTD supported, memory configuration, and we can see the current memory. So it is DDR5. Graphics configuration, you can set the primary display, aperture sizes, DMI configurations, CCSS, display setup menu, in there, PCI Express settings. So there's a lot in there. Got password protection, secure boot, disabled by default. Boot options. You can see Windows Boot Manager, so it does have Windows installed. So the price that it's charged for, what was it, £260? It does have a Windows license as well. Let's see if it boots into Windows. So we have the Windows 11 spinner. So it does come pre-installed with Windows 11, but if you're capable, I'd always consider reinstall whatever operating system comes pre-installed yourself. Just, it's clean that way. Okay, we've got the Windows 11 wizard. Right country or region, United Kingdom, keyboard layout, United Kingdom. You don't want to add a second keyboard layout. So enter your name, YouTube, your password, no thank you. And this is our first look at Windows. I am running through a capture card, so it will be a little bit slower for me. Let me connect it to the Wi-Fi. So I've connected it to the Wi-Fi. We are connected it to guest Wi-Fi, so we are safe. I haven't done a scan on this or anything. I'm assuming the installation's safe, but I'd recommend that you always wipe whatever's on it. You've got the license now into Windows, so I just reckon you wipe any device that you buy off the internet and reinstall it, just so you are safe. I say this is connected to IoT Wi-Fi, so it's blocked from accessing any other devices on the LAN. This seems to work fine. I am going through a 4K capture card, so there is a little bit of delay. That's just me. Take a look at display settings. And yep, 3840 at 2160, so we have got 4K. Take a look at the device manager. So Bluetooth detected, sounds detected. We've got the 512 gig SSD. Intel graphics is detected. Security devices. We've got the TPM module. We have sound. We have all the USB. So there's no exclamation marks in the device manager. So it looks like the Windows installation is a proper one. But I said, just to be on the safe side, I'd always do a fresh install. And to do that, we'll need to check what version of Windows this actually is. Oh, it does come with Windows 11 Pro. I thought it was going to be home because it didn't give me the option to do the join domain when I started it. That's be the way the install set up. So yeah, all seems to work fine within Windows. One of the things that MeLE claimed was that it works on Linux. So I figured I'd test it. And this is Arch Linux that I've installed on it. So as you can see, it's a fresh installation of KDE. Install the browser. Okay, so we'll do Firefox Developer Edition. Install it. And I'll do a similar test on Arch Linux as I did on Windows. Make sure we can get YouTube videos playing, etc. So you can see from the bottom right, Bluetooth is detected and I'm on Wi-Fi, so that's working all right. So let's go ahead and give Firefox a blast. Yeah, get off. So you can see this is working just fine. The sound is working, I'm just not capturing it. So again, it's playing just fine. I really do like this device just because of the pure size of it. You can install Arch on it, Kali, what you want really, and you can carry it around with you. Just give it some time to cool down because it does get quite hot. We're going to display settings, and you can see we're at 3840 by 2160. So we do have 4K in Linux as well. We've got Bluetooth support, we've got Wi-Fi. So yeah, that seems to work pretty good. Is it worth the £260 price tag? Well, yes, I'd say so. But my use cases probably differ from yours. But the fact that if we onboard a new client, I can literally take this device, plug it into their network, and because it's running Arch or Kali, your Linux or Windows distribution of choice, you can then get remote access using Netbird, Tailscale, Zero-Tier, whichever VPN access solution you use. And then that gives us full access to the client's network. And we can run Nessus, Mmap, we can get full idea of what's on their network. And we can do that remotely. We literally just have to plug it in. Because it's so small, I can literally just put it in my pocket and I'm off. And I can go and plug it in. Because it's silent, if you want to run Jellyfin or Plex on it, you can do, and it will do the hardware transcoding. It sits on the back of your TV. You can use a VESA mount. It's quiet, so it's not going to disturb you while you're watching anything. With 16 gig of RAM and a 512 gig SSD, there's plenty of storage and plenty of memory on this to pretty much do a lot with. You can set it up as a router, for example. So if you're going into Starbucks or wherever and you want to set up a VPN, and obviously you can plug your laptop into the RJ45 and connect the Wi-Fi to whichever public Wi-Fi network you're using. So there's a lot of potential with this. With the 2 HDMI outputs and the USB, so if you need 3 screens on it, that's probably not what I'd use it for. You've got the headphones, so the universal audio jack. There's a lot this device can do. So yeah, I'll try to make this a bit different to a lot of the other reviews that are saying you can get an M150 mini PC much cheaper. You can, but they don't come in this size. Literally, to be able to just put this in my pocket, get on a train or drive to a client, plug it into their network, I can come back, and then I can onboard them from here. I can do a full audit of their equipment, see what they've got. We can do network scans, vulnerability scans. Yeah, I really like this device, so I probably will be getting a couple more that we can use just to leave on clients as we onboard them. It's not really something you'd use as an actual firewall or router. One of the limitations being that it only has one RJ45 network socket on the back of it. So obviously that does give you some limitations to using it for pfSense or OpenSense, for example. You could even install Proxmox on this and have some virtual machines set up and spin the ones up that you need as required. But yeah, it's quite a funky little device, and the sheer size of it just gives it a lot more benefits over a lot of other devices. We use Raspberry Pis, for example, a lot of the time to plug into clients when we're doing remote assessments, and this is fast. It gives me full operating system of choice, whatever I want to do with it. So yeah, it gets a thumbs up from me.